the podcast where we transform adversity into triumph, illuminate the extraordinary potential within us. I'm your host, Thomas Scaria, a resilience coach, an ultra marathoner, and a firm believer in your next most powerful chapter. This podcast is a companion to my now released bestseller book, Resilience+Rise 26.2 Transformative Miles to Unleash Your Marathon of Life Mindset. We amplify the stories of hope, perseverance, and success to inspire your journey. For today, remember this date and do go to social media. June 16th, there is an amazing human who plans to do 7,500 kilometers running across the country of Canada for 70 days, which comes to roughly around 100 kilometers a day. Yes, I said it right. He will be running 100 kilometers a day, traversing roughly around 7,500 kilometers. For what? He's got a dream to raise $1 million for mental health. I would love to introduce Sachin Latti. Before we can get into the conversation, Sachin was working for around 2 decades in the Canada Border Service Agency, and there was a moment of time wherein it transformed from a law enforcement officer to an ultra endurance athlete with a mission. He evolved from a competitive bodybuilder, martial arts, into an ultra marathoner. But as I talk about the book, when when you're training for marathon, what you're really training for is also life. But what Sachin found was a powerful way to create awareness and support for a cause that hits close to home for him. He had experiences with mental health challenges, witnessing firsthand the mental health struggles faced by those who wear the uniform, the silent battles of many veterans, first responders, and emergency personnel fight daily opened his eyes for a larger purpose. So, without spending more time, Sachin or Sach, we call him, welcome. But before that, I would just like to say Sachin was one of my first podcast guests, and like the way he does his run from my podcast has been just hitting milestones after milestone. So, Sachin, Sach, welcome to Resilience+Rise, the podcast.
Wow, that was a pretty good introduction, man. Thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
So, for the people who are not aware about what you're doing, I've just mentioned that you are going to be running just 100 kilometers a day. Guys, maybe have a look into it and find out how much 100 kilometers a day is. It's way more than what you may be driving in a day to work or something like that. Way, way more than that. But, Sachin, how did this happen? Or what triggered you? Because in my podcast, I always tend to say is that when the pain is so deep, that's when the purpose that you believe in comes out as the strongest. What's your story?
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, that's true, I guess. I was, 5 years ago, I was going through some struggles for myself. And I had no plans of running across Canada 5 years ago. But when you try to, or at least when I was trying to figure out how to help myself, I stumbled up on running. And it was just one of the things I started doing to help my mental health. And things kind of unfolded from there. I mean, fortunately for me, I'm mm, someone who likes to explore ideas and explore different challenges. So as I started running, I started setting goals. And when you set a goal, you achieve a goal. And when you achieve a goal, you set another, and you kind of just keep doing it. Or at least I do. So over a span of a few years, um, I've probably run in the last 3, 4 years, 16,000 kilometers and raised over $80,000 for charity. So that's kind of what helping myself turned into, helping other people. And it's pretty much it, man. Like, I mean, I was struggling a lot, and through the process of helping myself, I found a way to help other people.
Wonderful. So, guys, he's also known as David Googans of Canada. And so, you just mentioned a word about your struggles. So, people say, yeah, even I'm struggling, but I don't go and do 16,000 kilometers of running or some anything like that.
Mhm.
What was the pivot point wherein you mentioned, okay, you have been into physical, I'm sorry, the martial arts as well as being fit,
Mhm.
but there has to be something that drove you so much into, like, I can see the photograph at the back about you being into bodybuilding, etc. But what was something that really triggered you further into the abyss or the crevice?
Yeah, I mean, most of my, as you can see, some of these pictures, and I have trophies and, all these different types of things. But for me, those things never really mattered much, man. I think I was searching for some meaning in my life, a purpose. And I didn't have one identified most of my life until I started struggling with my own mental health. And, I was very disillusioned with life in general. I was very, mm, I'm kind of a neurotic person as well. Like, so I see the negatives in many things. So I was trying to find a way to stay in the game, so to speak, find a way to get engaged with life. And it just so happened to be running. Like, it wasn't planned or anything. But as I started running and started kind of challenging myself, I started seeing how I could create a purpose for myself, something that was more meaningful than just a medal. Like, to be honest, man, I mean, it's great that people run marathons and all that kind of stuff, but I don't care. Like, it doesn't matter to me to say, "Oh, I ran a marathon. I just did one." For me, that's kind of just the beginning. You see a lot of people, they train and they do a marathon. They say, "Okay, I'm done now. I've got my marathon done." Well, it's like you only just started figuring out who you are, and you only just started figuring out what you're capable of. So for me, that's kind of the endeavor I went on, man. I wanted to see who I was, like personally, what kind of person am I, and what I'm capable of. And through that kind of process of self-discovery and seeing what I was capable of and really starting to understand what humans are capable of, that gave me a level of purpose. So I kind of leaned into it more so that I could see what was possible for not only me but for those around me. So it really has nothing to do with like the act of running. It's more of the act of engaging a process, and that can be done with anything.
Hmm.
So I think for me, that's kind of where I went with it.
I can totally empathize on that because when you put in a goal, a purpose attached to anything that you're doing, that becomes a different hierarchy, a different mindset. As you mentioned, yes, I also had run quite a bit of marathons, and for me, it was just a kind of a measure of how many marathons I've run. I was just feeling a boost, bottom line, boost to my ego, a boost to my pride that, okay, I've done so many marathons, etc. But when I changed it, the first time was doing 5 marathons in 5 weekends to raise money for cancer. That's when the mindset totally changed. That's when the body became more stronger, mind became more resilient. And as you mentioned, is that you had the element of being negative. Are you still negative, or has that changed in a different
And
way?
yeah, I'm not really negative anymore in the sense of like I see gaps in things and I see how things can be improved upon. But I wouldn't say negative. I would say more of a positive outlook or more of maybe not even positive. I'd say it's more like indifferent. Like
Hmm.
so like if I see something I just want to improve. I just want to get better. So I definitely don't have a negative mindset. I try to find a mindset in any scenario where it may be negative or might not be 100% positive. I find the positive within it or the goal within it so that I can, either engage it or not. So for example, um, actually, you know what? Let me take that back. I do see things positively. I wouldn't say indifferently because if I let's say if I have a challenge and not even a running challenge, just like a financial challenge,
Okay.
right? Something, oh, I don't have enough money to pay this thing, let's say. Well, I'm not going to freak out now, right? I'm going to be like, okay, this is an opportunity to figure out how I can get more money to pay for X, Y, Z. So I look at things as a way of improving myself now rather than being scared of engaging something. So it's turned things into more of I get to learn more often now. I get to acquire more knowledge now. I get to engage more people to learn from now, rather than being negative. Oh, I can't do this thing, so why am I going to even bother, or why am I going to talk to this person, or anything like that. So, for me, yeah, you know what? I'd say it's more of a positive outlook. It's more of a growth mindset where I want to just keep acquiring knowledge for myself and just being a better version of myself, not just from running. Because be honest, man, I hate running, man. I don't like it. I do it just because it's a means to an end for me to achieve a goal, which is the fundamental goal is to raise awareness and help other people. Like I've been at this is my fifth year of running now. And I've been relentless, man. I've been nonstop for 5 years. Like I'm burnt out from all this running, to be honest. And but I'm still doing it because I have a goal to achieve. And when I'm done the
Fantastic.
goal, I'll do something else, and I'll get good at that. And then after I do that for a few years, I'll stop that and do something else. That's because that's kind of what I do.
Fantastic. And as I mentioned during the initial part of our conversation, is that when I started training for marathon, what I realized was it was training me for life. And from your conversation, that's what I realized is that the mindset that has been slowly changing. Of course, there are times wherein running can be a great opponent, and what we work towards or what we are looking towards, things can be different. We see it in a different way. And because for me, a lot of times, I've got back to trail running, and I find it has been very challenging, especially after a year, more than a year of hiatus that I've not been doing. It can be very challenging, but then it gives me a certain direction towards life itself. My question over here is that now that you've taken on this 100 kilometers a day for 7,500, the training that you have been doing, there would have been some peaks and valleys. So when you come to a valley, or when you're in that depth wherein you said, okay, running is, I'm not really interested, but then there are times wherein you have to push yourself. But sometimes there could be life itself throwing a curveball. How do you handle those days or those situations?
I prioritize.
Okay.
So, so for example, I'm scheduled to run every day, right?
Mhm.
So, and 9 times out of 10, I do all the runs that I should do. Now, if a challenge comes into my life or a problem or something comes up, I address it, but I still do the things that I'm supposed to do through the day. Now, it doesn't mean each run is going to be amazing, It doesn't mean each run's gonna be my best run because sometimes they aren't. Sometimes I'm not all there, but I still get out there and I still put in the reps. So for me, I understand as long as I'm doing the thing, I'm gonna get better incrementally even. So over a 5 year period of just kind of run, training, um, and engaging people and traveling, and I've been doing a ton of things, man, over the last 5 years. And what I've noticed is as long as I keep on path and keep on track and do the runs that I'm supposed to do, um, I'll make it to the goal now, or I'll make it to the start line, which is June 16th in Victoria. But the reality is, man, you can't really talk to anyone about how to train and run across the country. It's not like something you can read about or ask somebody. I mean, there are people who have done it, and I've talked to a couple of them, and but again, everybody's very individual on how they prepare and how they do things. So it's kind of like I gotta kind of figure it out. And so the run's not going to be easy, man, and it's going to be very, very, it's going to be very, very hard. And the reality is, by the end of it, I won't be the same person, both mentally, physically, and spiritually. I'll probably, be somewhat damaged physically because it's like a lot, man. It's 7,500 kilometers, but also the vertical gain of summiting Mount Everest 7 times. So it's a lot. So, I weigh about 175 pounds now. I'll probably be like 150 or under by the time I get across the country. And I'm 5'9". So, there's a lot to consider for me, how to prepare myself, how to properly stay mentally strong and sound. And so every challenge that's presented to myself over the last few years, those have been all things to help me become more resilient for the run across Canada. So it's not just the run and the training, because sometimes, um, there are other things to train, not just the body, not just the running. And the reality is the mindset needs to be dialed in. My fitness is fine. I could run across Canada now. I could have ran across Canada last month. But what needs to get dialed in is the mindset. Am I prepared to die on this run? That's the mindset, man. Like, because if I'm wishy washy, I'll quit, or
Oh, yes.
you'll find a reason to stop, right? So for me, I'm framing this like, okay, I'm going to run this, and I'm going to make it across, or I'll die trying. That's it.
Wonderful. So actually, there are around three questions which come up as per. Thank you for that. Which comes up. Number one is that when the people who are, and guys, I'll be putting out Sach's website, Such Motion, down in the comments below. Please go to that website and donate. I'm not requesting, but listen to this person in front of me. He is doing it for a cause. He's doing it for the mental wellness. He wants to make a difference. Help him make the difference. What we just heard was your like every day you're training. Go, 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 go. How important is rest in this? I mean, this is again with life itself, is that sometimes people they feel by just going at it, going at it, going at it, and they forget the element of just the self-care and the rest. What do you have to say on that?
No, it's super important. You have to, but how does someone know when they need a rest or not? They have to understand who they are, and you have to be pushed. You have to push yourself so much till you break, and then you
Okay.
can. For me, at least that's how I function. So everyone has a range, right? How do you know what your range is unless you test that range? You have to push so much until you break, and then okay, I got this. This is the barrier over here, and then you get to the other side, which is like, oh, I'm not doing anything. So now I know what my range is,
Hmm.
and once you understand your range, you can stay within it, so you can find the balance of how much rest you need and how much rest you don't need. Everyone is different. So I could train for 3 weeks straight, and then maybe I might need a break. Maybe. But like I said, everyone's different. And everyone needs to push themselves enough to find out what their capacity is. And the reality is 99.99% of the people here that I've met haven't ever done that. So they don't know when to rest and when to push. So when people are resting all the time, I think it's more of a cop out than actually pushing.
Would you say that's the same thing with life also?
Well, of course, yeah. Look, anytime I kind of talk, I'm not even talking about running, man. Like for
Beautiful.
me, like it's the way you do one thing is the way you do all things, right? If you can't even make your bed or tie your shoes or keep, you can't do anything. They're not small things. They are how you do everything in life. So that's why everything should try to be improved upon. Like, look, I'm not perfect. Absolutely not.
True.
There's a lot of things I need to improve upon, but at least I know I'm making a step each day in the direction of improving it. So all I'm suggesting for people is to objectively look at what you're doing and what you're not doing in life, and perhaps start pushing yourself to a level where you can see where your limit is and then just live within that.
Okay, fantastic. That's a very good word. And what do you do for your rest?
Mm,
This is the year I'm talking about from running because that's what
mm.
your
Yeah.
focus is.
I mean, honestly, man, there's not much I like. Like, I don't like going out too much. For me, relaxing is just sitting on my sofa, watching a bit of TV, and just just resting, right? Going out and doing things now because I'm always training or doing something. It's kind of a still of a chore, so I prefer my rest just to be like sitting on the sofa and lying down and watching TV. Pretty basic.
Here I am reminded of David Goggins, who had been the ultra endurance man, and he says that he used to go, 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 but the day he realized how important stretching was or taking the pause was, that changed his not only his mindset but also the way he showed himself up. What's your take on that?
Yeah, I agree. Think whatever someone look, we're humans, man. We're not robots, right? We're not machines, right? We might look like we're machines, but um, but we're not. We're humans, and to we need to recognize that, and take the opportunities to you know down regulate or relax or whatever term you want to use to make sure that you can keep pushing hard continuously after. So yeah, I mean, I'm not surprised. I mean, David Goggins is a human; he's not a machine. And so I understand how he's able to do what he does. He's been doing it for 30 years, hardcore, right?
True.
And getting hard and pushing every single day. So that's why he can do what he can do. He's no different than you, me, or anybody else. Just like anybody, it just depends on what you're willing to sacrifice to be able to achieve that. So I suspect David Goggins has sacrificed a lot
Of course.
to be the person that he's become. Look, I've been at this only 5 years, and I've sacrificed a lot, but I've also gained a lot. I've gained a lot of understanding of who I am and what's possible,
Hmm.
and what's possible if I'm able to push myself, at a level that maybe some other people might not want to. Most people I've met just want to live in comfort, man. They,
Yes.
they just want to live in comfort. And look, I love comfort, man. If I had the opportunity to sit on my sofa all day, every day, watch TV, I would do it. I would. I I went to see my psychologist yesterday, and I was telling her, man, I go, I don't even know if I like doing all the things that I do. I prefer just sitting on the sofa and just watching TV all day. But the reality is, I'm not going to do that because there are things I need to do because my purpose is greater than myself.
Beautiful.
If it's just about myself, I'll watch TV all day, but it's not. So
Yes.
for me, if I had to find a reason to do the things that I do. For me, some people are not like that. Some people are. I had to find the reason to get in the game. And that was by finding a purpose. And now look what happens when you do that, man. And you really pour yourself into something. You pour yourself into something with a level of purpose. And, you know, we're about to do something that's pretty freaking amazing, right? Like
Of course.
to take on a task that, the first person of color to run across Canada. We're doing it to raise money for various different mental health charities, and this will probably turn into something else. And then that'll turn into something else and just continuously grow and grow and grow. So, I really urge people, man, like to sit down and really think however long it takes and figure out what you want to do and how you want to do it. And maybe, just maybe, think of it in a way that's not only about yourself.
Beautiful. Actually, this comes beautifully to the next question. Was what are the, I would say the word suggestions, not advice, that you would like the listeners to ponder, think about, or even inculcate in their day-to-day life? As you mentioned, is that move away, as I say, is that move away from existence to living a life that you're
Mm.
meant to do. So, in the last few years that you have transformed, I wouldn't even say the last few years, the last few months that you have been transformed in working towards your purpose, what are the life lessons that you would like to tell people about?
Mm. Well, I guess the first thing for me that helped me was just sitting down in front of a pen and paper and not getting up until I figured out what my purpose was, what my why is. And then, um, figuring out how to do that and then deciding how fast I wanted to do it in. So I don't know the suggestions I can have, man. I mean, I can list off a bunch of things, but I mean, fundamentally, it comes down to what are you here for, and what do you want to do with your life? Is it just to go to work and make a living and then go on vacations and really that's kind of it, or do you think you're been put on this planet to do something more with it? And that more doesn't have to do about money. That more just has to do with like what you feel you can give more. So for me, like I'm not a millionaire. I'm just a guy just doing my thing. But I feel like I'm um extremely wealthy by the connections and by the wisdom I've gained over the last few years that the reality of not very many people can acquire unless they've done the things that I've done and pushed themselves in the way that I've pushed myself. So it's very individualistic, man. Like, people can only learn what they learn if they push themselves in not only one area, but many areas. So I've pushed myself in the running area. I've pushed myself in the performance area. I've pushed myself in the marketing area, the business area, the sponsorship area, the donations area, the fundraising area. Like every area you could think of that someone would need to learn in a space that I'm in, I pushed myself. I was a government employee for almost 20 years, man. Didn't have any opportunity to really explore other things. So I think that's another gift that I've given myself is um the understanding that I don't need anything or anyone, but I can do everything on my own in a way. Like I do need people supports and whatnot, but I've led everything. I've created it all, and anyone can do that. Like the reality is, in another 18 months, probably create a pretty significant organization around me that might be generating significant amounts of money, not only for myself, but also for other people. And that's pretty cool, man. Like I just started running 4 years ago, whatever it is, and now it's turning into something absolutely unimagined, like it's something that I didn't even imagine, right? And I don't even know what's out there still, the opportunities that will present itself after I'm done this run. Because the reality is, I'll be done in mid-September. I'll make it across the country. And then what happens out of that? I don't know, but I'm excited, and it's exciting times to figure it out and then learn even more. So bring it.
Leaning into the unknowns at times opens up a box of wonderment also. It does. Fantastic. So, again, just being mindful of the time, you will start on 16th of June in Victoria. But would there be spaces when you're doing a run that if people want to come and cheer you, or are you putting out a route that how it's going to be that it would be in such emotion, that website, right? Maybe.
Yeah, yeah. So we're working. So the route map is on there right now.
Mhm.
But it so how it's set up now, if you go to the website, you can click the live tracker. There's like a little running man on the website. It opens up the map of the route, and then it'll show live tracking of me day to day as I'm running through the country. It also will be a live tracker of the funds being raised, so you can see how much money is being raised. Number one. Number two, we're going to be uploading open source the route in the next week or two. So if people want to join, they can sign up. They can print out a bib and they can join,
Okay.
right? But for a donation, right?
Okay.
So not a massive, $5-10 donation, and you get a bib and you come join. And so we're gonna put the every sort of route, like all the routes for the running on the website. So it's going to basically look like, like a concert tour. Have rock concerts. They have this is the date and this is where. So we're going to basically set it up like that, and then people can click on the link and they'll see the route for that day, and they can join at any point. So
Fantastic.
we want this not to be a solo journey. We want this to be a community engagement project. We want to be able to engage with many people across the country, and we're working really hard to make those connections with other charities across the country so they can even engage with it. So we're in conversation. I have a few meetings today to kind of iron those things out. But no, we want this. And when I say we, have a core team of people that are helping me organize and plan. Like without them, definitely this would not be happening to the level that we're going to make it happen. But we have a great group of a team that's being able to really create this and scale this at a level that will impact the country, where people will recognize it. Because it's not really about me running. We're using the running as a tool or a vessel to get more awareness. And with this and the core team around me, I think we can really make it such that we have some a pretty massive social media presence. I'll just share with you real quickly.
Sure.
We're really focused on the social media platforms and really really amplifying that voice as one of the metrics we're assessing. In the last 30 to 45 days, we've just the core team we've had around me and the new social media kind of strategy, we've engaged 3 million accounts in just a
Wow.
month, and we haven't even started the run yet. So our goal externally for the run across Canada is to be able to engage over 100 million impressions, so more than the Super Bowl. So our goal is to use the Run Across Canada as a campaign, a social media campaign, to really amplify the voices of the people of the country. And so, if we are able to hit those targets, that means everyone in Canada is going to know about this.
Wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. So, guys, if you want to be a part of the history in the making, this is an opportunity. Go through the live tracker. There's still 1 month more for you to find out where exactly such would be running across, and see if it is possible for you, maybe even if it is few meters or maybe few kilometers. See that if it is possible that you could be a part of this particular group, that you could say that, yes, I also ran with Sachin Latti. Sachin, this has been an amazing talk, and I sincerely wish you all the best as you move into this particular endeavor. And as you mentioned, this is more about the purpose. And guys, again, let me just keep on harping. It is not just about breaking records or making history. This is about every kilometer that Sachin runs, every dollar that is raised, every conversation that starts to break down the stigma surrounding mental health, to be of service. It's about showing our heroes in uniform they are never alone in their struggles. Yes, what he's doing is that he's pushing his limits on the road. But one thing which was very much clear was to support those who dedicate their life to keep you safe. They are serving you. Sachin, what he's doing is one step at a time. With this, Sachin, thank you so very much. I sincerely wish you all the best, and I hope that I would be a part of maybe few kilometers of run with you.
Yeah, man.
And
Hey, I expect you to be out there for a little bit, man.
cheers on that particular thing. And succeed, 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 brother. Thank you so very much.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.